Imagine your crypto wallet as a high-tech treasure vault. Instead of using one key, you split it into several parts and give them to trusted friends. By doing so, it's nearly impossible to steal your treasure, right? This is exactly the concept that formed Tuki.io to automate blockchain security and enhance Web3 operation. Well, to simplify what blockchain is, it's an advanced database mechanism that allows transparent information sharing within a business network. And Vasiliy S, the co-founder and COO of Tuki.io, has utilized this idea to build a platform that uses multi-party computation threshold signature scheme, in short, MPC TSS technology. This method makes sure that private keys for cryptocurrency wallets are never kept centralized to reduce the risk of hacks. Reuters said hackers had stolen more than $1.38 billion worth of crypto by June 24, 2024. Given the situation, we must admit, Vasiliy's innovation couldn't have been more timely. Fortunately, we had the opportunity to interview Vasiliy S, who joined us all the way from France. He aptly shared how Tuki.io is making blockchain security more accessible, especially in terms of collaborative efforts in startup businesses. So, stay tuned as we take charge and let Vasiliy describe how Tuki.io is making a difference in safeguarding blockchain transactions. Founded in 2022 by Vasily Shilov and Alla Denisov, Tuki.io addresses the need for security in cryptocurrency. Based in Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain, Tuki.io's mission is to modify blockchain security to make it accessible for users worldwide. After recognizing the growing threats to digital assets, Vasiliy S and his team developed a platform with MPC TSS technology. This method divides and spreads private keys to reduce the risk of hacks and avoid single points of failure. With products such as non-custodial blockchain automation, automated signatures, fortified wallets, responsive triggers, threshold signature scheme, TSS, and distributed key generation, this platform has made a name for itself in the crypto community. They also support multiple blockchains and integrate with existing Ethereum projects to offer users a cost-effective alternative to traditional on-chain security measures. They want to provide automated marketing services, collaborate better, and win with decentralized autonomous organization. Vasiliy S is the co-founder of Tuki.io, who happens to have created this mastermind brainchild. From his LinkedIn profile, we learned that he graduated with a bachelor's in politics and law from RENEPA in 2020. Next, he went for a master's degree in entrepreneurial studies from Harbor Space. By 2023, he got his MBA degree from the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce. There, he honed skills like problem solving, strategic planning, sales presentations, business to business, B2B, blockchain, business development, product management, cybersecurity, cryptocurrency, entrepreneurship, operations management, and more. Before founding Tuki.io in 2022, Vasiliy worked as a listing coordinator at WowSwap. With 6 years of experience in project management and business development, he is a passionate Web3 entrepreneur who leads the charge at Tuki.io. He intended to build a collaborative marketing DAO for Web3 and simplify workflows to empower builders to unlock the full potential. He is driven by the power of blockchain technology to create a more secure and inclusive financial system. Additionally, he seeks collaboration with fellow DeFi and Web3 enthusiasts to explore decentralized finance. Now, we will get on with what Vasiliy shared with us through an interactive interview session. Before going into the depth of his company and its resolution, we wanted to talk about his educational background and all the little information about him. He gave us the details in his own way.
Originally, I was born and raised in the Moscow, Russian Federation. At that time, I was thinking, okay, so I had this entrepreneurial thing in mind that I should do something, in this field, right? But I haven't knew particularly what should it be. And during that time, I was focusing mostly on my studies, and like as a regular kid, I was trying to do like the best for me, learning some languages, exploring some new opportunities, and so on and so forth. As well as currently speaking Russian, English, Spanish a bit of time because I was living there. And after the first university, when I was graduated, I was thinking, okay, it's maybe time for me to explore some other cultures and explore some other parts of the world. And my first MBA degree, which I received, was in Barcelona, Spain. At that time, I was thinking, okay, it might be cool for me to be in the traditional finance, building some banking apps and so on. And that's why I decided to go this path with the studies. But some of the guys at that time introduced me to the concept of the cryptocurrencies, all as part of the Web3 world and so on. I was thinking, okay, it's nice, but the main thing I was concerned, it sounded a bit scammy to me. And the next steps was I was trying to work my way, worked as a project manager, as a product manager also, and thinking about something bigger, thinking about how to start the entrepreneurial journey of mine, and where to start, with what, because a lot of brilliant ideas, but in the end of the day, ideas cost zero, only execution costs something. So I was starting as the graduated from the Barcelona. I decided, okay, it might be a cool thing to jump into another part of the world, and that's where I found out decided to go to Thailand, Bangkok, and start my second MBA degree in there. But it mostly was connected to the fintech, and at that time I already been working with some crypto companies, as well as some sophisticated blockchain protocols and so on, where with beautiful teams we was developing the future basically. And from that time, where I decided, okay, it might be good transition towards becoming entrepreneur myself, and that's where it's all started. I started finding out the good partners for me, because it's highly technical field and my technical knowledge was not so strong. I was capable of doing some things in sales and busy in fundraising and many other stuff connected to business. And that's how it started and how it goes right now.
From his words, we learned that he always held an entrepreneurial mindset and wanted to do something about it. But due to confusion, like any youth in their prime time in the beginning, he did rather focus on his studies, while learning languages such as Spanish, Russian, English, and a bit of Thai as he lived there. Then he was introduced to the concept of cryptocurrency. He subsequently worked as a project manager and product manager, but he had a strong desire to do something bigger. He slowly started applying his knowledge of crypto companies and blockchain. That's how it all started, right after he found a partner. Before asking our next question, we appreciated his career transition and skills greatly. Now, coming to Tuki.io, he was already equipped with the knowledge to work with Bitcoin. To lighten things up, we also joked about how our traditional-minded mums would be baffled if we asked them about crypto or blockchain, to which he grinned and agreed. So, our next question was how he founded this company and what inspired him to do it.
So originally, it wasn't started with current positioning, with the current things that we're doing and so on. I started with Mila partner, just two guys. She was a hard army. He was more on the technical side, while I'm playing most of the business roles, trying to do some fundraising, testing some hypotheses and so on. And what's most important for, I guess, early entrepreneurs, as well as for me at that time, it was important to understand that making pivots and changing, it's part of the journey, because sometimes you're falling in love with your product or idea and you just keep pushing, even not seeing some results. But it's not working like that. The main point that I found out, okay, I'm not gonna be building something unless I can find out that, okay, it's easy for me to sell it, it's easy for me to prove the concept for the people, and find those shiny eyes in front of me when I'm talking about it. Because at that time, we switched multiple ideas and multiple concepts, starting from security and privacy at that time, and ending up with absolutely other ideas in terms of automation marketing And actually, what we do right now, the current positioning is collaborative marketing platform where we helping the Web3 and blockchain startups to grow and especially accelerate their growth with the collaborative efforts. And most importantly, as you already mentioned, it's very hard to prove the concept of all of these cryptocurrencies, bitcoins, and so on for elder generation. And I guess it's not the case. It's mostly about the mass adoption on the guys who actually, like, I don't know, from 16 to 30 right now. And for them, they also have this maybe ideas of building something in the field and so on. And I was thinking about how we can support those guys and actually input all of these struggles and so on being solved in our product, because we already faced it all. We switched multiple ideas. It's actually 7 or 8 pivots in there. And multiple sleepless nights and so on, they actually paid off. And I want to make sure that people can learn, not from their mistakes sometimes, with of course the support, but I want to help them in their journey and the actual problem of this initial kickstart of the startup. That's what we was trying to solve at that time.
To this, he shared that his partner was more technically proficient, whereas he focused more on things related to business strategies, fundraising, and more. He got back to this. After knowing the details, we were interested to know how he came up with the name of his company. Also, we asked if someone gets confused seeing his website, how they would understand what Tuki.io is all about. Thirdly, he had already mentioned Tuki.io fortifies wallets and is working as DAO, decentralized autonomous organization. But many people might find it difficult to understand how it really works. We basically wanted to know how he would simplify what his company does for normal people who lack technical knowledge, such as managing cryptocurrency, fortifying the wallet system, using different messaging platforms, and at the same time automating the entire process. He said,
"It all started when my partner came to me and said, okay, we're ready to build something, but how it's going to be called?" And at that time I was thinking that way. It's 2 of us, and at the start of the journey we was doing the private key management also, and for crypto wallets basically. And okay, it's 2 of us, and we're managing private keys, so it made the cool thing to call us Tuki. It's like 2 keys in there. And as well as the main branding at the start was mostly about these toucan birds with the long noses kind in there. And that's basically it was the branding. Wasn't thinking about it so much, because it should be easy, it should be fun, and it should relate somehow to us as the founders, because it's all the companies is mostly about the people. And that's how we actually came up with the naming itself. The original positioning of what we're building right now is basically was based off the DAO. And the concept of DAO, in simple words, it's basically a company which is getting ruled or actually founded by a couple of people, a group of people. For example, it can be from 3 of them or 2 of them up to 100,000 people in there supporting the project and actually contributing to the growth and actually making decisions together. Because the concept of DAO itself is more about the collective decision making. And at that time, when we was acquiring the first clients, and we was thinking, how can we provide more value to them and actually create this environment where everybody feel heard and everybody is actually can make an impact on the company. And that's how we actually made it happen. All of the first and the early clients, as well as our current investors, our employees, and as well as ourselves, actually are decision makers in the company. So it depends upon how much voting do they have and how much impact they can do on the decisions of the company. So it's basically a company structure of the new era of the Web3 internet. That's how it's originally started. And simplifying the concept of what we're building right now. So for example, the current marketing is very expensive. And if you're trying to jump in and build your own startup, it's usually some costs involved in it. And at the early stages, you don't even know, will it pay off? But the amount of cash the guys are asking from you, for example, like the influencers, the media outlets, or like whatever you're trying to do in the field is very, very expensive. And that's how we solved the problem of it for us. We actually started making some collaborative booms. We invited the other startups to work with us, and as well as support some of the activities while sharing the costs. And it's especially good in alignment with the topic of DAO, how we're framing it in terms of the organization, and as well as the super well aligned with cost-effective marketing, user acquisition, and so on. So that's where we decided to focus the most and build a platform around those efforts to actually help early to mid-stage startups grow themselves easy, efficiently, and not solo with the partners. That's how we empowering growth for them.
From his answer, we understood his prime focus has been set on collective decision-making through DAO. He wanted to provide more value to them, create an environment where everybody feels heard and can be motivated to make an impact in the company. And to simplify the processes his company follows, he talked about collaborative moves by inviting other startups to work with them. By doing so, they could also share the cost and eventually grow more efficiently. Next, we shared some of our thoughts with him. People have to do online marketing on Facebook or other social media. We'd know we have to pay our own marketing rate as a cost. In that case, there won't be any decentralized platform, just one platform. In blockchain, it's not in one person's hand. If there's a joint collaboration, it's going to be less expensive. To this, Vasiliy agreed and said it's indeed mostly about the concept of decentralization, autonomous work, and collaborative work. Let's hear the rest from him.
It's mostly about the concept of decentralization, autonomous work, and collaboration in there. Because the blockchain itself, it's all of the info in there is basically public. Like who made what transactions, how much transaction was made like during the year, and so on. This info is always public, and the concept of privacy and decentralization is was always the core for us as the founders and as the guys who are actually moving towards some good change in the world.
Hearing him out, we appreciated him for implementing his knowledge in this entrepreneurship journey. We know it must have been a difficult journey for him in the beginning. He didn't have a lot of investment from others, so naturally, he had to think about the money, hiring employees, and more things that followed. So next up, we wanted to know the steps he took to kickstart his business.
I guess during those times, the most important and crucial part was actually understood one very easy concept, that you first sell it, then you build it. Other way around, it's connected with a huge amount of costs, it's connected with a huge amount of questions from the investors and the people who actually believe in what you're doing, but they need some proofs. And the only proof that you can actually share with them, it's your traction. It's the people who you're working with, to whom you're serving, how you're serving to them, and why your concept is actually bulletproof. And nobody else can actually do this faster than you, because there's like some giants, for example, like Google and like whatever other big companies in there. And then what you should do is basically start with attraction, start with real life applications and real people to whom you actually can speak before actually building your product and framing your offer. The customer development interviews concept is actually one of the greatest helpers, and it's especially great for the lean startup methodology that we was implementing at first. But as you already mentioned also, the most important part in there, we wouldn't know all of this before we made our own mistakes, face our own struggles, and finally find out this concept basically of how you can make it before actually building the product. Because it's so easy right now these days. You can shoot a couple of videos, you can create this landing page website, put some signups or pre-signups in there, and actually find out, like, do real people need this concept, or it's something that they're not willing to buy, they're not willing to pay for, and not interesting at all. And it means it's just your lovely business idea, or how I love to call it, hallucination.
He emphasized on starting with real-life applications and real people whom they could speak to for building the product. That's why interviewing customers can be a great help. Next, we asked who his target customers are and who should subscribe to Tuki.io. He appreciated our question and said,
If we're talking about the customer segments that we're currently addressing, it's actually people who we know the best because we was at this position. It's a long time ago. And it's early entrepreneurs who just have an idea in mind and try to test out all this, but very, very budget constrained. As well as it's guys with already established but early stage startups where they already have some teammates in place. They have some validated hypotheses in terms of what they're going to be building and why people need it. As well as they still budget constrained. They might not have some large investments or some huge revenue streams income in terms of it's not enough to pay for a team. It's not enough usually to pay for marketing, for servers in the end of the day. And it's usually not so cost effective to run all of those stuff on just your own budgets. It's way easier to partner up. And that's the concept that we actually try to put in there. As well as the third segment is basically the mid-stage startups where they already have an investment on their side, and as well as they already have some established revenue streams. But what they're struggling to do, it's like going on the car and going from 100 to 150 if you have still have a Volvo, but you do not have a Ferrari in there. So we help in demonstrate this part with partner up with them, with reliable partners to create this collaborative marketing campaigns, to create more momentum for yourself and actually grow not solo, but together with the guys like you who are actually struggling with the same things. And it's easy to establish this audience exchanges between them and collaborative marketing activities. That's what we help them with.
We liked how he targeted early-stage entrepreneurs on tight budgets. These entrepreneurs struggle with investments and steady revenue, so they can't easily afford teams, marketing, or servers. His focus on helping those who really need the service impressed us. Our next question was about the kind of marketing method he applied. To this, he replied,
It's an awesome question. So, as we all know, we're currently living in the economy of attention, and bringing people attention to what you're building is essential. What works for us the best? It's actually the creation of the content, because we already knew who our target segment is. It's most of them, it's founders of the startups in the blockchain or Web3 field. And we was thinking at that time, what can we create in there to bring them value up front and not try to create this sophisticated platform with all of these functionalities and so on. We actually started with the creation of the content, which allowed us to project our visions, share some insights, and as well as being useful in the areas, for example, like development, the marketing, sales for Web3 startups, and so on and so forth. And we started with the creation of this content, as well as during that time we already had some clients in place. And we were showcasing also the success stories, like as a proof of the concept and as a proof of what we're building. As well as the most effective thing is basically what we're doing right now for other companies and other founders out there. It's we partner up with a lot of startups and created this syndicates of the partners and partnerships which allow us to market in different spheres. Because the blockchain field itself, it's full of different ecosystems. It's not like App Store or Google Play. It's way, way more in there, and everybody's trying to do their own thing. And what we was trying to do is find out where we are most suitable for it. And for example, most of the people in the world familiar with Ethereum and Vitalik Buterin, this guy, a crazy guy who actually created the applications of the cryptocurrencies. And the main point for us was trying to explore all of these things while partnering up with startups who are actually already in those ecosystems. And we're creating these cohorts with them where we was trying some of the hypotheses, working with different bloggers, publishing the articles in different media, as well as working in the multiple fields and multiple ecosystems to find out where is the best fit for us, because the traditional space of internet and the Web3 field, it's way different things. So for example, the good thing for us was to actually work with DAO, the guys who actually do building the largest lending protocol in the world. And those guys are supported us not only with marketing, but they supported us with crowdfunding, which we actually invested in building something. So in traditional world, you're just gonna ask a blogger to publish it somewhere. But in Web3 world, you can go to ecosystems and tell them, okay, we have this brilliant ideas in mind. What you think? We have this grant proposal, and they'll be more than welcome to help you, and as well as providing you with some money, some resources, and their marketing resources. What's more important for early stage startups. So it's just a bit a different game, but the instruments there may be more complicated, but definitely worth it.
As he said, the blockchain is full of ecosystems, and they try to find where they are most suitable. Their method of partnering up with others and working with multiple fields to find where the best fit is proved to be helpful. We thought it was an ingenious idea. So, we moved on to asking why people should use Tuki.io and how they would be benefited from this. Also, we wanted to know the difference between free and paid subscriptions.
So if somebody trying to grow their startup from the ground up, or they already had some achieved results and traction, it's actually a good fit to jump and try some of the, talking about the free plan, it's easy to jump in, try some of the collaborative marketing activities which do not require funds to invest. For example, you can easily find the partners on the platform, create cross-following on the Twitter and whatever social media, do some cross-posting and so on. It's free for all, but the main point in there is very hard to find the partner. So that's where 2K.io stands in and helping you to achieve this. As well as if you already have some budget, you're ready to allocate it, and you're ready for making some bigger moves than actually just collaborating with some startups, you can actually create some collaborative campaigns where you can run giveaways, work with bloggers, work with media outlets to create collaborative publishing, share those costs, and actually exchange audiences with the partners that you working with. Because in the end of the day, if we work in the same segment, if we're working for the same industry, it's very important for us to exchange the core audiences. Isn't it a point of collaboration itself?
He recommended trying collaborative marketing, like cross-posting on social media platforms such as Twitter. Tuki excels in this area. Clients can also allocate budget for larger campaigns by collaborating with media outlets to reach wider audiences and gain exposure. After that, we asked if his company would be founded by the end of 2022. To this, he willingly gave us details.
We actually started the journey in the end of 2022, and at that time we was trying to test as much as we can, fail as much as we can, just to acquire enough knowledge and understanding of the field as an owner, not as a guy who worked in the company or something like that. And actually what we found out, it's way harder to do so without actually having some huge exits or being famous Google or, I don't know, Facebook employee or director. So we was learning everything from scratch and working with a lot of acceleration programs, working with the ecosystems, as I mentioned earlier, and all of them are willing to help you, but in the end of the day, it's more about your mindset, your skill set, hard skills, soft skills that you acquired through your previous journey. And then it's a wild world where we was mistaking as much as we can and actually testing as much as we can. And that's where we end up with. And currently we already incorporated, all of the legal stuff is done. It's all looks beautiful. What at that time, it was a general struggle because nobody want to work with you and invest in you as long as you do not have company. But if you do not have like business, you do not have company registered. And all of these chicken and egg problems are popping up in there. And what you gonna do? The only way is to find the innovative ways. Do not put heads down and always grind and work. And that's what we right now replicating on the other founders and trying to share with them as a part of our journeys.
His enthusiasm for learning everything from scratch deserves praise. He admitted how it might look great at present, but it was a strenuous struggle back in the days. He advised us to look for innovative ways, work hard, and grind, no matter what. Then, we asked him if he is still operating from Germany, or have they expanded to other areas as well. On this, other than different locations, he gave importance to having a similar cultural background for better reach.
In terms of where we incorporated, it's Delaware, America, United States. And the actual target segments mostly coming from the Europe, post-Soviet Union countries, and a bit of them is from Latin America. So we already know where the newest founders, with whom we have cultural alignment, we have this kind of similar mindset thing it had. And we try to work with them mostly because it's easier to work and especially sell to people to whom you already know how to sell, who have the similar cultural background. And yeah, honestly, we try to keep things decentralized. In the end of the day, this technology is for everybody, and we're not trying to connect it with a special country, CB, or something like that. But definitely, when you're just getting started, you should connect it to a specific region. Otherwise, it's hard to route that.
Moving on, we mentioned he has already been in this competitive journey for 1.5 years. We were elated to know what kind of widespread responses he got from customers. Also, as any form of business brings in a certain amount of revenue, we wanted to know Tuki.io's approximate revenue figure. Yet again, he really liked our question and said,
That's awesome question. I love the question about the responses. So, half a year ago, the things was not so clear for us, and as well as was not so clear for our target audiences, because we was getting a lot of replies that are, oh guys, I would like how these works and so on. But you should, as an entrepreneur, should always be ready to get this risk and seek for those imperfections. Because as long as you're getting those wild responses, maybe sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good, but where you learn the most, it's actually the responses that are bad. Because in the end of the day, you're smart enough to that go to this person, having a phone call with them, and actually ask them, okay, what exactly you didn't like? Is it the price? Is it the journey that you kind of been involved in? Is it some, I don't know, some smaller problems, or maybe fast or something like that? And if you're curious enough, and if you have this courage inside yourself to actually not address this problem or like bad comments as a, oh, these guys are just dumb. No, they're not dumb. It's actually the best advices coming in from those people. And if you address it right, you can actually move way faster forward. So do not seek for ideal picture everywhere. Seek for imperfections. And those imperfections are actually the best helpers for you to solve your inner problems, basically. So in terms of the revenue-wise, at the current stage, we actually having 60K revenue per month, or recurring revenue, I mean. And as well as our goal is to actually double it every month. It's not usually going so well like that, because at the end of the day, it happens burn rate, continues strong, so you usually should keep this balance between, okay, me getting a lot of margin on what I'm building, but I'm doing everything myself, but basically not sleeping. No, it's not working like that. If you're trying to scale, you spend some money.
Kudos to him for having a mentality to learn from bad responses. His insight on interacting with clients and having the best advice from the negative responses can open new possibilities. He looked for imperfections to solve inner problems. Whenever someone invents something, they will find a competitor the next day. So, we asked him about his existing or potential competitors.
Exactly. Talking about the competitors, the most important part in there is you should be aware of your competition. There is only way to do it, and the main point of, if we connect it to KIO, the business that we run currently, main point in there, the concept itself is a bit fresh. You know, it's hard to compete with us, especially because of the super advantage that we have, this collaborative approach towards the marketing and user acquisition. And the main point in there is if you know your competitors, it's not a bad thing to actually spy on them and actually collect some of the ideas and implement it in your startup, because somebody may be thinking differently, somebody may be having the better ideas than you, but it's not a bad idea to actually copy it, because at the end of the day, they're doing the same. And that's kind of philosophy that we also implemented, because it's mostly about solving people's problems. And the only way you can do it is through the competitive environment. Like, that's why we have all of this Olympics, UFC, and so on. It's competitive. That's why it's interesting.
As we were getting closer to the end, we asked him what his future vision in the next 5 years was. His response went on like,
in terms of the frame of 5 or 10 years, what I see is DAO growing in terms of the ecosystem itself. And the ecosystem not only for other builders, but also for other startups and other industries. Meaning that if we expanding fast enough, if we getting enough exposure and solving problems not only for our current target segment, the blockchain and Web3 startups and founders, basically if we can expand it towards the multiple industries in there, and like traditional stuff can be there too. And we can acquire enough talents and the startups who want to work with us, we can frame it in absolutely different way and vision of the internet. Because in the end of the day, all of the traditional things that we know about Web2 internet is going to be slowly transitioning towards the Web3. Basically, your grandma then going to be paying not with the Visa or cash, that she's going to be paid with a Bitcoin. That's my kind of luxury vision in this part. And as well as if we can establish a smooth landing for those people to actually be in the ecosystem, to actually help them to acquire knowledge and come into the space where it's already something built and some concepts is already improved. So that's the kind of vision in terms of the 5 years. And talking about the 10 years perspective, it's mostly about becoming a multi-billion-dollar company with as well as the venture part of it, where we're going to be also investing our own money and efforts, growing other startups with the help of our innovative tools.
And finally, we asked him the last question, as we always do with the founders we interview. It was the moment of truth for team inspection. We requested Vasiliy to convey a message to the team business inspection, especially to entrepreneurs, and we couldn't help but appreciate his enthusiastic and inspirational words.
Dear business inspection audience, guys, I want to tell you one thing only. Don't forget to make mistakes, live your best life, and understand the world and get it as it is, because it's always going to be struggle. It's always going to be massive opportunities that coming with it. And if you brave enough and strong mentally enough to grab these opportunities and turn it into something like Guadalisa thing, you're definitely gonna be successful in your journey. And just don't be afraid, keep pushing, and definitely waiting for you in the next Web3 era of the internet, guys.
Last but not the least, we extend our gratitude to Vasiliy S for sharing his insights and passion with us. His leadership and vision are prevalent in molding the future of blockchain security. We look forward to witnessing how Tuki.io continues to set new standards in safeguarding the integrity of digital transactions for businesses. If you found Vasiliy's perspective inspiring, share your thoughts and suggest other innovators whose stories deserve recognition in blockchain. Until next time.